Hi everyone, it's 1 o'clock here on IC Radio and I'm Layla.
And I'm Sophia. Welcome back to Science at 1, where we bring you the best science news, gossip and analysis.
And the best music on our playlist today, we got a diverse range of music from pop to classic rock.
And on the science menu, we'll be discussing the latest news in science and technology. Monty will be joining us to expose what it's really like to work in the civil service. And finally, Taylor Swift mania has reached Science at 1. Our regular Spot the Bot segment is on Taylor Swift songs.
Not only that, but I'll be talking about science and facts and myths with my little brother Ibrahim.
That's all between now and 2 on Science at 1. So, how are you doing today, Layla?
I'm good, thank you. Like always, another Monday, another Science at 1.
And you've got your little brother in the studio. It's like the family is taking over.
Yeah. I mean, there was a bit of concern. I kind of failed to update myself in the group chat about who was presenting today, and I thought there was no presenters left. I was like, oh my god, who can come and present? And I was like, oh, Ibrahim, can you come? But that was not necessary. I'm so thankful that the studio was full and packed with all of us. Everyone just working on their documentary pieces, and yeah.
Yeah, we've got documentary due at the end of March, so we've all sort of been in the middle of filming at the moment for our course, but it's really exciting.
Yeah.
First ever documentary.
Seeing everyone busy in the studio, behind their computers, just editing away.
Anyway, we're going to get on with the show, but you can get in touch with us. You can email us via science19@gmail.com. That's 9 written as a number and 1 written as word. So science19 as a number at gmail.com. And let's have some music. We've got Katy Perry today, Firework, which I haven't heard in a long time, so I'm kind of excited for this.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you ever feel already buried deep, 6 feet on the screen, but no one seems to hear a thing? Do you know that there's still a chance for you, 'cause there's a spark in you? You just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just on the night, like the first of July. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em what you're worth. Make them go and just shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make them go you're gonna leave them all in love. You don't have to feel like a wasted space. You're original, cannot be replaced. If you only knew what the future holds, after a hurricane comes a rainbow. Maybe a reason why all the doors are closed, so you could open one that leads you to the perfect road. Like a lightning bolt, your heart will glow, and when it's time, you just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just on the night, like the first of July. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em what you're worth. Make them go and just shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make them go you're gonna leave them all in love.
All right. So, like Sophia said, this was Katy Perry, Firework, and the cover was by J Flaw, FLA. But yeah, like you said, I've never heard it in a long time, so it was nice to kind of like, it brought back some memories. And
Yeah, I think this is when I was in maybe primary school even, which is a long time ago now. And it was really popular. They would always be playing at the school discos.
yeah, same.
So today, I've got a couple of news pieces for you, and then we'll also have another news segment later on. Nice and chatty as usual. And this is a story I've covered a few times already on this show, but it's still going on, so I thought I'd cover it again. Iceland is still erupting, and this has been going on since about December. So Iceland's always been on this sort of geothermal area. It's in between two tectonic plates, like it's on the border between the Eurasian and the North America tectonic plates. So that's why, like, if you go to Iceland, and which I haven't been to Iceland actually, I'd love to go maybe once it stops erupting. But if you go to Iceland, there's all these like geothermal lakes, and you can go in there, and there's lots of spa treatments and stuff. So it's quite a good like tourist attraction, but it also means that it's on a sort of volcanic hotspot. Did you know that there are more than 100 volcanoes across Iceland?
No. And
so it's quite a lot.
And it is quite ironic with the name, like Iceland. You would just think it'd be just cold. But yeah, I actually
Fireland.
literally, and I think I missed your initial news piece on this, so this is like quite news for me.
So what happened was in December they predicted that there were a couple of volcanoes in Iceland that were going to erupt. So they evacuated this town, and which had, I think, quite a lot of people in it. And it was, Iceland has had volcanoes erupt before. I think it was quite a while ago in like 2011 that there was like all these big ash clouds, but I think the difference here is that this is close to like more populous areas in Iceland. So they were waiting for a good few weeks for it to erupt, and I don't think it did until after Christmas. And then it did finally erupt, and because they'd prepared so much, there were no fatalities or anything, but it sort of destroyed some of the infrastructure. And it's still continuing to erupt. If you look it up, there's like BBC News article, for example, you can see the pictures of it, and to be honest, it does look quite apocalyptic, because like I've seen pictures of volcanoes erupting before, but when you see it with like roads and like human stuff in the background, it does look, it really puts into perspective like the scale of what's going on, and how how much it could maybe impact Iceland's economy and everything.
Yeah, definitely. That's super upsetting. I'm just looking up the images right now. Like, it looks very intense, and it's like right down the center of the country, like on the continent, on the island, we could say, Iceland. And do you think like these people would eventually have to evacuate the whole country, because a huge percentage of it is covered with these volcanic spots?
I mean, they haven't really said that much. I mean, it's more that I think in Iceland, like, some parts are more densely populated than others, so it's those bits that might be needed to move out. But I mean, they haven't really said anything about whether they'll evacuate the whole country, because that's a huge scale operation, and I don't think it's that dangerous at the moment. It says that scientists are actually doing quite well at predicting the systems, which is quite good, so that they can get an idea of how much magma is underground, and when it's likely to shift as well, like where the magma is likely to come out. So they're still continuing to learn more, and I think there's a lot of work going on. So I guess that's the positive note, is that scientists can predict these things. The town was able to be evacuated beforehand.
Thank you for that. I just have one more question. Just came up. It's okay if you don't know, but so I know that earthquakes cannot specifically be predicted, like the timing of it and all that. Only like I think like a milliseconds before. With volcanoes, is there a chance to like kind of know, like in this many minutes, like this many?
I don't know about this many minutes, but then they were saying that when I first started covering this story back in December, they just knew that it was going to happen soon, and soon didn't necessarily mean in 10 minutes or in 20 days, but at least they can predict it and then have people evacuated. And I think it's different from an earthquake, because you can monitor things like how much magma is underground, whereas with an earthquake it's not like a physical substance or coming out the ground or anything. So maybe I'll carry on covering this story if something new happens, but I think scientists are starting to think that maybe the news is that scientists are starting to think that maybe there's going to be a period of more volcanic eruption in Iceland. And then the second piece of news I have for you is that you may have heard that Elon Musk's Neuralink has implanted a brain chip inside somebody for the first time. So this brain chip, it's going to allow people, it's an implant, and it's going to allow people to control like devices, or control things using your phone and control like either your movement or control your phone through your brain, and it's that sort of link.
Like
So-
unlocking your phone, maybe? Like
I don't know about unlocking your phone actually, but I think usually it's more like controlling something like a robotic arm or a wheelchair. So it's actually used. It's planning to be used in the health sector.
Okay.
So it, people with spinal injuries are quite hopeful about this because it might be able to help paralysis. So often when you're paralyzed, it's due to something not working in the spine. That's like
nerves.
yeah, brain and spinal cord is sort of like your central nervous system, and that's what controls everything. So that's the plan. But then obviously this is, if you imagine, you're putting an implant in your brain surgery, and something that is related to the spinal cord as well is very risky. So but this is the first time that they've done it on human participants.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I remember about 2 years ago, I saw online this family, and they got chipped like in their hands. They had like
Oh.
chips in their hands, and like right, so your index finger and your thumb right in between the space, and they were literally advertising it, and they were talking about how like, oh, like you guys should do this. They literally use it to kind of like unlock their car, unlock their house door, and yeah, I was like, oh my god, there's no way I could do this. But obviously everyone has their different opinions. Some find it useful, some are anti-technology,
Yeah.
and they don't look at it in a positive lens. But yeah, this is quite interesting. But it's really nice to see that it's going to be used in the health sector, and it's going to be potentially help people who are suffering from paralysis. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's the plan. That what they're doing is they're going to monitor these patients for 5 years to see if it has any impact on their brain health, heart health, other organs, and how it works with their body. Because this isn't something you might know straight away. Like you might have to monitor them to see how they're doing. It's obviously like going to be some sort of an invasive surgery. So yeah, they're going to see how it achieves. I mean, there has been another one which I think was founded by Mark Zuckerberg's company, and I forgot what it's called now.
so another chip.
Yeah, another similar technology, Synchron system,
interesting.
which has this similar technology. So there are other things like it, but I think what scientists are wanting, there's an article in Nature which I've sort of been reading to prepare for this piece, and they're trying. The scientists are calling for Elon Musk's company Neuralink to release more information about this, so that more people can get working on it, because some patients are really waiting for this kind of technology to improve their lives. So this is what scientists are calling for with this technology. But it's interesting to see how it works. It kind of seems like a technology, to me it seems like a technology which like could be in some sort of dystopian future, or it could be a utopian future. Like who knows, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued, and I would love to hear your updates in future news rounds.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it for the news. So let's have some more music. So we have got another cover today of a song that I'm sure you'll have heard of, which is Radioactive by Imagine Dragons.
I'm waking up to ash and dust. I wipe my brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the sun hasn't died. Deep in my bones, straight from inside, I'm waking up. I feel it in my bones, enough to make my systems blow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. I'm radioactive, radioactive. I'm radioactive, radioactive.
Okay, that was, as Sophia said, Imagine Dragons, Radioactive, and the cover by Our Last Night. Okay, so as we mentioned at the beginning of our show, today in the studio, we have a special guest, and it is my brother, Ibrahim. And what he's going to do is, he's got a sheet on his hand right now with a bunch of statements, and the statements vary from scientific facts to scientific myths. And yeah, I'm gonna just give a cue to him, and then he'll just like go through one by one. And here in the studio, I know the answers, so I'm gonna be asking Sophia, and behind the scenes, I'll be asking Abby and Jamie, our co-producers today, to guess if these are facts or myths. Yeah, Ibrahim. That's actually, you know what? Maybe he should introduce himself. Yeah. So Ibrahim, would you want to introduce yourself? Who are you?
Yes, please. Hello everyone, my name is Ibrahim. I'm a year 6 student and I love science.
Ooh, okay. Very, very insightful. So he was really excited before he came here. But I think once we came to the studio, he got a bit anxious. But yeah, you're doing great, Ibrahim. So you could just give us the first statement and then, yeah, leave it to our studio to guess if it's
Also, do you know how anxious I was the first time I went on the radio? Way more than Ibrahim. So I think you're doing a great job.
Statement 1 is we only use 10% of our brains.
Ooh.
Statement 2.
No, don't say statement 2. So statement 1, no, we're all gonna guess.
Okay.
Statement 1, we only use 10% of our brains.
Goldfish have a memory
Don't.
span.
Now we have to guess.
Now we have to guess.
We have to
Because
guess.
we need to see if it's right or wrong. You're going to see how
Yeah,
clever
yeah.
I am.
So let's see if
Yeah.
Sophia and Abby and Jamie can guess it. Okay.
I mean,
Alright.
some days I feel like I only use 2% of my brain, so I'm gonna. I think that's because I've heard that so many
Yeah.
times. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a myth. I think this is something that you hear and then it's gonna be a myth.
Okay, so Sophia's saying myth, and then asking the co-producers, Abby and Jamie, do you guys think it's a myth or a fact? Myth. Okay, so Ibrahim, tell us, is this a myth or a fact?
It's a myth.
Okay, so you got it. You guys got it right.
Do you know how much of our brains we actually use, or is it just that it's a myth?
It's just a myth.
It's just a myth. Maybe we'll look that up after because I
Yeah.
kind of want to know if it's more or less.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to be that we use all of our brain but at different times.
Yeah,
Rather
yeah.
than there's like 90% of the brain which is just redundant,
Yeah.
I think. But
I think so. I think I've read something about like certain parts of it we use. Like physically, there's only certain parts of it that we use. There's parts, but again,
but then a lot of what we've heard about this is probably a myth.
yeah.
So.
Oh,
Okay,
right, Ibrahim.
let's move on to statement 2.
Statement
I'm
2, yeah.
excited.
So just mention statement 2, and then we'll guess.
Okay. Goldfish have a memory span of just a few seconds.
Memory span just... So I've heard this before because it's like, you know, when the goldfish goes round in the bowl and they're like, oh, it's a new bit of the bowl. I think it's true.
And in Turkey, it's quite common. You would call someone fish-brained. You would say like they have like a short memory.
Like an insult. Oh, I'm gonna start using that for people now. You're giving me more ammunition to make fun of people in my course. You got fish
So
brain.
it's like a really common saying. So Abby and Jamie, what do you guys think? They think it's a myth. Okay, so Sophia is saying it might be a fact, and Jamie and Abby, our co-producers, are saying it is a myth. So Ibrahim, drum roll. What?
It's a myth.
It's a myth. Okay. Okay. Oh, this one, guys. I'm not gonna make a comment. Okay, Ibrahim, tell us statement 3.
Bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't.
I think this is true because, like, I know that there are so many things that we think are berries and that aren't. I think because strawberries have the seeds on the outside, maybe that means it's not a berry, but bananas have the seeds on the inside. But then does that mean that apples are berries too? I don't know. I know that that's a whole thing, and that like fruits aren't fruits and some vegetables are fruits, but I don't know. But I think it's going to be true.
Okay. So Abby thinks it's a fact as well, and then Jamie?
I think it's a fact. I'm going to go with the majority. I think it's a fact.
Jamie says fact as well. All right, Ibrahim, little drum roll. Is it a fact or a myth?
It's a fact.
Ooh, okay. I mean, Ibrahim, you're sitting down here with scientists. Of course, they will know the answer. AI, I guess it's like a new territory for us. That's why we're not like really sure. But with like science or facts, you guys are doing really good. And yeah, statement 5.
4.
Oh, is it 4? Oh, my bad.
Yeah, we're all scientists, but we can't do basic maths.
Sugar makes children hyperactive.
Oh, this is true. My cousin's kids eat so much sugar, and they are just completely hyperactive. I can't keep up. Like, I go to see my cousin and her kids. I get home and I sleep for about 10 hours. I don't know how I cope with a parent.
Imagine how they
I know.
deal with it.
I don't think they are.
Aww.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with true.
Okay, and then Jamie is saying, so we've got different perspectives today. So Jamie is saying it's a myth, Abby is saying it's a fact, and Sophia is saying it's a fact as well. I actually forgot the answer, so you tell us, Ibrahim, what is it?
It's a myth.
It's a myth!
So wait, what happened? Maybe, I guess you get the sugar crash, but I think my cousin's kids are constantly eating sugar, so they never have the crash. So I know it's a myth, but
I'm sure
think it's true. From experimental evidence, I can deduce that it's true.
I remember I did back in college a test. I mean, it wasn't sugar, but I did like a test on like caffeine, the effect of caffeine on heartbeat. And do you guys know the creature Daphnia? It's like a water. Like, it's not microscopic. If you look really carefully, you could see it. But it's a really tiny creature that lives in water. And yeah, we were just putting drops of caffeine onto it and just literally counting its heartbeats. But I'm assuming, I think we did a bit of like literature research on sugar as well. So quickly, there's like an energy boost. But I think over here, the trick is like the wording, hyperactive. It makes a kid hyperactive. It's like, I think it's like it's kind of signing to a more long-term effect. And I think that's why it's a myth.
I see.
Does that
Yeah,
make
it's
sense?
more of a long-term thing rather than an
Yeah.
initial spike.
If it says sugar makes children full of energy, like if it said that in like a certain amount of minutes, it would have been accurate. Because it's like hyperactive and there's like no end of time, it makes it a myth. It's not true.
Well, I have some chocolate in my bag, so maybe we can test it out for ourselves after the show.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Ibrahim, we can move on to our
Statement 5. Eating carrots improves your vision.
I will keep this to myself. I'm acting like I don't know the answer.
I think this is going to be a myth. I think it's more like, it's not carrots specifically. Surely it's just like, if you have a healthy diet, you eat a lot of fruit and veg, the nutrients and the vitamins and stuff will help you with that. I don't think it's carrots specifically.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to go with myth, but like carrots and other vegetables.
Okay,
you know.
okay, and then... Okay.
They don't seem very confident. So Jamie is saying on the mic, we think it's true.
So yeah, Abby and Jamie say it's true, unconfidently. And Sophia thinks it is not true.
Unconfidently as well.
And drumroll, Ibrahim, is it a fact or a myth?
It's a myth, but it's only healthy for the eye, doesn't improve vision.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting detail. So it's healthy for it. Because I was going to say, so when I first encountered this, I was like, this is definitely true. From childhood, my parents have been feeding me carrots. And oh my God, over the last year, my eye vision has been deteriorating. And my parents have been feeding me carrots every day. They're like carrots, good for your eyes, good for your eyes. And I believed it. And I actually felt like my eyes were getting better. And we did a bit of research with Ibrahim and we're like, oh my God, this is not true. So yeah, it's healthy for it, but it does not improve our vision, unfortunately.
I mean, to be fair, I have perfect vision, but I have weird eye problems, so I think like my optic nerves are messed up. So maybe I should eat some more carrots.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next one.
Humans share 50% of their DNA with bananas.
I think it's quite a lot. I think we share our DNA with quite a lot of things.
Yeah, I remember back in middle school, our teachers would give like various animals and what percentage I think there was like a creature that's like, I don't know which it was, but it was like a very unique creature that doesn't look like us at all physically, and we shared the DNA like most with them. Sorry for the inaccuracy, but yeah, like you said, it's quite common to share.
Yeah, like I swear
DNA.
with like snails, we're like very strongly related to snails. I don't know how I can't give percentages off the top of my head, but I'm gonna go with that's a fact.
Okay, and then our co-producers, true. Our co-producers are saying it's true. Okay, Ibrahim, reveal the answer.
It's true.
Ooh, it's true. Yay! But it's quite odd when you think about it. I mean, I guess we associate DNA with like identity. We're like, oh my god, our DNA, and just saying, oh, we share 50% with bananas, which is also quite fascinating.
Yeah.
What differentiates us from bananas? It might get a bit deep and philosophical, but maybe our willpower, ability to choose, decide.
I think bananas have a lot of willpower, don't you?
And
No, they don't.
maybe they pick who will get nutrients off them, so who their consumer is maybe.
I think we need to stop talking about bananas. I think we're just
Yeah.
making stuff up now, and this is a science show. Yes, anyway,
guys.
let's move on to the next one.
Water swirls in opposite directions when flushed in different hemispheres.
I don't know, because I've never been to another hemisphere, and I also, to be honest, I couldn't tell you which direction, even though I like go to the toilet every day. I couldn't tell you which direction it swirls in, so I really don't know with this one.
Don't think of it. I mean, like, it's not just toilet like flushing. It's also like if there's like a pothole or like water just going
Or
through.
like going down a sink and stuff. Which
And
one?
I've heard this quite commonly that like with different hemispheres, it turns.
I've heard it, but I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, I've heard it. As
I
well.
really can't. I'm trying to think about the logic of it. Like, does gravity work different? I don't know.
What do our
I'm gonna go with it's a myth.
Ooh, okay. Sophia said myth. Yeah. Okay, Jamie's taking a different direction. Jamie's saying it might be true, but again, very unconfidently with the toning. And yeah, Ibrahim, please enlighten us.
It's a myth.
It's a myth. Okay, but guys, honestly, I thought this was true because, again, like something that I've just seen everywhere. I don't know where exactly, but it's just been instilled in me. Like it's like a fact in my brain. Like water just kind of goes down the drain on a different direction in different hemispheres.
You know what? Next time I go to the loo, I'm gonna look which way, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I just don't know. It's not something I think about.
Same. So it's not something I think about, but yeah, I've just seen it. The only time I've witnessed it is online, like through like videos that I've seen of water just swirling into different directions. But yeah, thanks for that, Ibrahim. How many do we have? Only 3 more left. Okay.
Yeah, let's go through them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Bish. Go ahead.
Your hair and nails keep growing after you die.
I think I know this one. I think it's a myth, but what happens is they look like they're growing because your skin kind of shrinks in on itself a bit, something like that. That's what I think.
That's interesting.
So they don't grow, they just appear to grow.
Look
because
like-
you're kind of sinking into yourself and
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that sounds a bit
I know, this
awful.
is getting dark. We've gone from like contemplating what a banana might think to this.
Yeah. And yes, our co-producer. Okay, so Jamie's saying Sophia sounded very convincing, so she will go with what Sophia said. Okay, Abby said true. That you
So
guys-
I'm saying false because they don't continue to grow.
Yes.
They just appear to continue to grow.
Okay, and then Jamie and Sophia are saying it's false. It's a myth. And Ibrahim, yeah, please enlighten us. What's the case?
It's a myth.
It's a myth. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah,
I'm
I heard.
gonna have to check if what I'm saying is true or if I've just made up an explanation in my head.
Just like Abby, I said it's true. Like when I first heard it, because again, that's something that I've heard. Like, oh, your nails grow. Where does these facts come from? Which is crazy. Caitlin on her radio show once mentioned the popular 8 spider one. There's 8 as people eat 8 spiders in a lifetime, which is so
I
popular.
thought it was per year. I didn't think it was lifetime. So that's made me feel better.
And yeah, it's just crazy how these facts come to our mind. Okay, let's quickly go through the last 2. Statement 9, Ibrahim.
A group of flamingos is called the flamboyants.
Ooh.
Oh, I kind
So
of want this
cute.
to be true. A flamboyant.
That's
Oh.
super cute.
because they're quite flamboyant. They're all pink and they stand on one leg.
All right.
I want it to be true, so I'm going to go true. No, I think it's just going to be like a flock or something.
Okay. Okay, Abby and Jamie are saying a myth, and Sophia wants it to be true, so she's saying it's true. And yes, Ibrahim, please let us know.
It's true.
It's true.
Oh, that's made my day. Thank you, Brim.
That's such a cute name. Who gave that name? I mean, they should get like an award or something. Flamboyance. Okay. And then, last but not least, statement 10.
It takes 7 years to digest chewing gum if swallowed.
I've heard that before. I think it's going to be a myth. I don't think it digests. I think it just comes out the other end.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they think it's a myth as well. The producers,
Everyone
Jamie
thinks
and
it's
Abby.
a myth. Okay, Ibrahim, what do you think? What's the answer?
It's a myth.
It's a myth.
Wow.
You know, I don't think we did too badly.
Yeah, I think you guys got
I
most of
learned
it
a lot.
right. Yeah, most of it was correct. I think that's how I judged it. But yeah, like I said, it's just crazy how these random facts just have a place in our brain. And I would want to know, there should be some sort of study. How does, through discourse, these random facts come into our knowledge, I guess?
Yeah.
Do we learn it through school? Like, are
It's
we
just
missing?
rumours, isn't it? Oh yeah, we're learning it through school. Our
Maybe
teachers just
we
wrong.
were misinformed in school.
Maybe.
And yeah, it's just crazy that we take these facts
Yeah.
as is.
Well, before we finish, can I ask you a question, Ibrahim?
Ooh.
What's
Yeah.
it like having Layla as a sister?
Ooh. Might just get out here. Okay, don't look at me.
Amazing.
Oh, amazing. That's so nice. Oh,
Okay.
you should bring my brothers here. I don't think they'd say that.
Okay, now that he said amazing, I want to know why amazing. Okay, it's fine. I don't want to put you on the spot.
I will say it. Compared to my other sister, you treat me much better.
Oops.
Oh, I've caused some family drama. I am so sorry to Layla's sister and Layla's family.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why I
we'll,
did that.
We'll just make sure
Let's
that
move
our
on.
sister does not watch this episode. Thank you for that, Ibrahim. That was really nice, really enjoyable. We should ask our audience, Sophia and our co-producers. Yep,
Yeah.
thumbs up. Yeah.
Really good. Love the quiz.
Yes, and it'll be really interesting to later kind of look at the
Yeah, I want to know how much of our brain we actually use
yeah.
what similarities we share with a banana. But yeah, thank you so much, Ibrahim, again. And Layla's staying on for the rest of the show, but I'll be handing over to Hannah now to co-present. But before I leave, I'd like to tell you about an exciting event coming up at Imperial this time next week. So on Monday the 19th of February, we're celebrating International Battery Day. And by batteries, I mean like batteries in electric vehicles, those kind of batteries, and energy storage. So yeah, come along if you want to hear about careers in the battery and energy storage sector. It's a growing sector because if you think about it, we're having more electric vehicles, we're moving away from petrol and towards electric vehicles, and also other energy storage stuff. So yeah, it's a growing sector, loads of jobs available. It's at 5 p.m. next week in the, I don't know how to say this because I've only been at Imperial for 6 months, but ACEX building or ACEX, I don't know, ACEX building, Lecture Theatre 1, and there'll be free pizza and drinks. So I'll be speaking about science communication in the battery sector and like all those sort of roles that you can have within like social media and stuff like that in the battery sector, loads of jobs going. And the other two speakers are CEOs of some startups in the battery sector, like bringing new technology to market. So that's really exciting. So if you want to find out more, the link is going to be in the description of the show, or you can Google it now. It's www.faraday.ac.uk/career-development/battery-day-2024. But yeah, the link will be in the description if you didn't get that now, or you can go back on our YouTube channel. So yeah, I will see you next week, and this is now, let's have some music. So our third track for today is called Greek Tragedy. It's a cover of the Wombat song, and it's by Waddesdon Performing Arts.
work so much, I drop our plans on a chart. Cars are flipping, I'm in hot pursuit. My character's strong, but my head is loose. She hits like ecstasy, comes up and bangs the sense out of me. The tarot cards say it's not so bad, and the blades rotate, there's just no landing pad. And better have said it, but darling, you're the best. I'm just tired of falling up the penrose steps. I love this feeling, but I hate this part. She really wants to make it work, and I clearly wanna let it start. We'll better water slide as soon as I get home. Oh, and she hits like ecstasy, comes up and bangs the sense out of me. Oh, and she hits like ecstasy, comes up and bangs the sense out of me. It's wrong, but surely worse to leave. She hits like ecstasy. Oh, and she hits like ecstasy. So free up the cheaper seats. Here comes a Greek tragedy.
Okay, so as Sophia said, that was Greek Tragedy and the Wombats. And they were covering for the song Waddesdon. And yeah, here in the studio now we have Hannah. We're halfway through with our show, so just to kind of remind of people who have just recently joined, you're listening to IC Radio, and this is Science at 1 with me, Layla.
And me, Hannah. And still to come, we'll have Monty coming in to spill some dirt on working in the civil service. But for now, it's me. I'm back. It's been a while. It's nice to be back in the seats and be with lovely Layla.
And it's a pleasure to be with you, Hannah.
Thank you so much. And if you'll indulge me, I'd love to chat on a couple topics that I find interesting. That are, of course, science related, because this is Science at 1.
Of course, and I'm always intrigued what Hannah has to share.
Oh, thank you.
And enlighten us with her rich scientific knowledge.
Thank you so much. First of all, I saw this in the news, so I thought about it because I did a module in this at university. But have you ever thought of research that can make you live longer?
Ooh, thought about research? No. I've heard about like these top rich people, like the head of Disney, like the original creator, CEO of Disney, like freezing their bodies, and like I know like throughout history there was this urge to like always live longer, and and in our documentary module, there was even a piece on the ontology of photography,
Mm-hmm.
talking about like photography is a way that people try to preserve life.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm aware that there's always been this urge to kind of continue life, and
Almost
live-
this obsession, right?
Yes,
with
yes.
with living longer and all these things. I didn't know for a long time that there's actually a whole area of research specifically
Okay.
looking into it. Obviously, it's not the thing that gets the most funding because it's a little bit less
utopic, maybe like unreachable. Yeah,
completely. Yeah, so it does actually get less funding, but it's called biogeontology.
Oh,
And
wow.
it involves a bunch of different things, a bunch of biological research. It's very, very theoretical at the moment. They're just trying to figure out how it works. But it's really, really interesting. I did a module of it at university, and I was just fascinated the whole time because, if you'll indulge me, in biology, what I love the most about it is that everything makes sense. Everything's a circle. Evolution is actually quite elegant as a principle, right? The idea that something in you genetically means that you have a characteristic that is a good characteristic. I'll just say a good one. Something that does something good for you means that you'll live longer, or means that you'll produce more children, which will then carry on that gene and you'll keep getting better. That is the simple version of evolution. So everything, all these traits, and over evolutionary time, us changing is quite linear, and it all makes sense. It's something good that then becomes better, and you accumulate these to make yourself better. Why then would we evolve aging? Why then would we not lose the fact that we age? Do you know what I mean? Why would that be something that happens? And by aging, I mean our systems, our processes in our body getting worse over time, which is a different word from aging. It's called senescence.
Okay.
Why would that be something that happens in our bodies? Why would we not evolve something that stops that system or maintains our processes better? That is just such a paradox for biologists, because it doesn't actually make any sense. It kind of goes against everything we know.
This is super interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
So based on that, people have been looking into it a bunch, and actually there's two really opposing schools of thought, and it's not really been resolved. But at the moment, when you see these big headlines like, we're going to extend life, telomere shortening, I don't know if you've ever heard that tagline. All of these things, they're just the beginning stages of things, and actually everything is still very theoretical. We're trying to think, how does this work in the first place at all? And the biggest theory for a long time is that over time we accumulate in our DNA, in our code, if we're like a computer. We accumulate a lot of bugs over time, I'll put it like that, lots of mutations over time, and at some point, when you don't produce offspring anymore, you don't get rid of those because you're not passing them on. It's kind of hard to explain. But then at the moment, there's a different school of thought. They're thinking, okay, well, that's talking about us as if we're hardware, but what about if we're software? And there's just a whole debate about that, and that's actually where we are with life extending research. But of course, when you see it in the media, everyone's saying, this billionaire is going to live forever, all the money's being spent in this, or maybe in 30 years we'll be able to live 12 years longer. But it's not really the case, which I think is kind of interesting.
That is super interesting. Honestly, I think I'm going to ask you to write the name of the area of research that you just said. It had a really fancy name. I would love to see.
Biogeontology.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's so interesting. It's interesting that the survival of the fittest and all these qualities. For example, I remember, I think as a kid we've always seen that diagram with creatures who lived in the sea as cells that turn to fish and slowly come into the land, and at the end is monkey and then a human. And you just think of physical attributes. Yes, aging, I guess, is in a way physical as well, but I don't know, I think I thought of aging as less tangible. I didn't think of it as a physical attribute.
Completely.
So putting that into the discourse of evolution is quite interesting to me.
Right.
It's very new. And yeah, and it's and I would say every animal, every creature, I feel like everything on this earth, not an animal, everything has an end. And it's just crazy. All around us, there's not a single being that is forever existing. And us humans have that urge. We're looking for that infinity. We're looking for that quote unquote foreverness.
Completely.
That's interesting.
In our sort of humanocentric viewpoint, we are the centre, so why shouldn't we, with all these skills, be able to extend that and go against what every other creature does? I think in general, when you're talking about evolution and behaviour even, or social behaviour within animals, you can never really count humans. We're always the exception to the rule, and the argument is like, well, why can't you count humans? And it's always like, oh well, you know, I don't know, because we are sentient, but so many animals are sentient, or because we have a way of thinking, you know, we have
Willpower,
language, all of
yeah.
these things. And so we're always the exception to the rule, but we're not exactly. We just think about it a bit more, you know.
Yeah.
I just think that's interesting.
Definitely is. And sorry, I forgot. What was your undergrad on? Zoology, was it?
It was. So yeah, I was
Okay.
studying animals in general, and zoology, which is quite funny as well. I often get asked if or when I'm going to work in a zoo. Which is,
And here you are.
and here I am. You need to, I mean, you can work as a caretaker in a zoo, but if you want to work in a zoo as a vet or anything, or when I'm going to treat animals, you need to be a vet. Zoology
Okay.
is more, again, it's actually quite theoretical, and it's the study of evolution, social behavior, paternity, and all of these different things.
That's super interesting. You would think these are like human studies, like look, not evolution, but like paternity. You said, and sorry, what was it again? The other
Social behavior.
one? Social behavior. That one.
That was one of the most interesting.
And is it
areas.
just animal social behavior or like human social behavior?
So again, you kind of exclude humans when you're talking about any of these in terms of
Okay.
evolution, which is always the basis of everything. One of my courses was different, but they all started with the evolution of, because that is zoology, and it's just evolutionary biology. What was I going to say? Basically, humans are always the exception to the rule. You kind of have to ignore them because it
Yeah.
doesn't work, and it's actually not as interesting as well. You want to
Yeah.
look things more downstream and how they have changed, or how they are the basis for understanding the bigger concepts. It's also a bit easier to understand what happens in a hive. Bees and bugs and everything is so interesting, the way they work.
The bees, like the hive system and everything. I'm like, how do you know what you need to do?
Completely.
Like,
And all of the different species do different things, and then you can expand to that and learn and kind of get a better understanding of how it might work. Or when you're learning it, you think about how it might, you know, be working as a human, and again you think, oh, but is it different for me because I have thoughts, I have conscience? But it's complicated, but you can learn from those and link them together.
that's super interesting, and I think I would love to like have it as like a series in our radio. Like you come and like kind of unpack like a concept within this field of study.
I
Like,
would love that.
I'm intrigued.
I'm sure there's so many people as well at Imperial that are so knowledgeable, so it could be interesting to hear their takes on things. But yeah, aging, super interesting. The reason I thought about it is because in the news, I saw one of those classic headlines I was talking about, where they were talking about, oh, we can extend the lifespan of your pet,
Yeah.
which everyone wants to do.
Yeah.
But they, again, which is kind of illustrating my point, you open the article and it actually only talks about a couple, or there was a big study on 1,000, 100,000, I think it was 100,000 dogs and how long they live. They all live to between usually 8 to 15 years. 13 is the most common. And they just had a couple, I know. And they just had a couple traits that they noticed commonly the dogs that lived longer had. And one of them was having a flat face. So you'd think a pug won't live very long. But actually, if you have a flat face, the dog might live longer. But that isn't, we know how to extend the lifespan. We've noticed a couple characteristics, which is,
super interesting.
Yeah.
I'm super intrigued and can't have enough of you. But we're going to have to move on to music and then have our guest come over right after. But yeah, Hannah, thank you so much for this. I feel enlightened. I feel like I'm in a different headspace, a different zone. I've kind of leveled up in knowledge. And yeah, looking forward to see you in future episodes. Okay, yeah, so let's just go for a bit of music. Taylor Swift, You Need to Calm Down, covered by Tiffany Alford, Jason Chen.
You are somebody that I don't know, but you're taking shots at me like it's Patron, and I'm just like, damn, it's 7 a.m.
Say it in the street, that's a knockout. But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out. And I'm just like, hey, are you okay?
And I ain't trying to mess with your self-expression, but I've learned a lesson that stressing and obsessing about somebody else is no fun. And sticks and stones never broke my bones.
You need to calm down.
Need to calm down.
You're being too loud.
You're being too loud.
And I'm just like, you need to just stop.
Need to just stop.
Can you just not
are somebody that we don't know, but you're coming at my friends like a missile. Why are you mad when you could be glad?
You could be glad, sunshine on the street at the parade, but you would rather be in the dark age, just making that sigh. Must have taken all night.
You just need to take several seats and then try to restore the peace and control your urges to scream about all the people you hate. Cause shade never made anybody less gay. You need to calm down.
You need to calm down.
You're being too loud.
You're being too loud.
And I'm just like, you need to just stop.
You need to just stop.
Can you just not step on my gown? You need to calm down. You need to calm down.
You need to calm down.
You're being too loud.
You're being too loud.
And I'm just like, you need to just stop.
You need to just stop.
Can you just not step on my gown? You need to calm down.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed this video.
All right, and we're back. Sorry if you heard a little bit of music from the studio there, but we are back, and Monty's in the studio, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about working in the civil service. Hi, Monty.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into civil service?
That's a great question. So the civil service has a graduate scheme that is one of the most applied to in this country, apparently. And it's a bit of a palaver to get through. There's lots of situational tests and assessment centres. Did quite well in one assessment centre, absolutely failed the next one. And so they said they didn't trust me to be an economist, which is what I'd applied to be. But you can be a generalist instead, which kind of suited me better in the end.
What's a generalist?
Yeah.
So in the civil service, rather than kind of specialising in one niche area, you're often expected to just have a general skill set of whether it's report writing or research, and then be able to apply that into different jobs. So the first job I had was as I worked in fishing. Had never been fishing in my life. I'm vegan, don't eat fish. I kind of know what cod and salmon are, and then it stops there. So even though I had no fishing background, as a generalist, you're expected to go into that role and just apply the same kind of broad soft skills. So that was my first job.
What did you do? You said we've talked about it when we first met. You talked about sort of having to liaise with the fisheries and the people working there. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So my first job was in sustainable fishing, and this was during Brexit. So it was a very weird time because a lot of the people I was speaking to had been Brexit campaigners. One of them was a Brexit MEP.
Tricky.
Yes, which was very difficult because they were very unhappy now that we had left, that the state of the industry had got itself into. We export 2/3 of what we catch and we import 2/3 of what we eat, basically. So we were so reliant on trade. But that messaging around British fish for British people, which kind of didn't really make sense, was very pervasive. And yeah, there was quite fiery group meetings with a Brexit MEP in particular, who's well known within civil service circles for kicking up a fuss. And when she didn't like what I was talking about, she told me I need to go get a haircut and left the call.
Wow,
so
lovely.
it was she was a lovely woman. So yeah, it was a very interesting time to be working in fishing.
Did you feel like you could say your opinions or have your own opinions? Did you feel like you had to be quite guarded, or did you have to wrestle with that at all?
Yeah, no, you have to be very impartial. So the whole idea of the civil service is that you don't take political sides. You're kind of just serving the people, and the people will vote for this party, so therefore you have to do what that party asks you to do. But that ended up being very difficult, and it was the reason why I ended up leaving that first job in fishing. I had been asked to write a reply piece to a piece of research around the emissions of the fishing industry, and the idea that when you bottom trawl, so you're scraping along the bottom, you're kicking up sediment, and that releases CO2. The Guardian posted an article about it releasing as much CO2 as the aviation industry. So I was asked to write a piece saying, the science is still out on this, we're doing our own research, all that sort of thing. And I refused to. And that is something you're not allowed to do in the civil service. So I very quickly then had to find a different job. But because of the idea of being a generalist, you then just bounce into a different team.
That's super interesting. And would you say you were seeing the direct impact of science communication on media within your department? So like you said, like the Guardian, what they published kind of affected the stuff that you were doing, the route that you were taking, and the developments of things that are happening within the role that you had.
Absolutely. We had a member of staff whose job it was every day to send a media kind of briefing, and so you get to see every day all of the headlines about fishing. And every day, without fail, the Daily Express, which is a right-leaning paper here in the UK, would have something to say, and it would always be kind of this anti-EU sentiment, the idea that they were holding it up, they were holding it hostage, we were taking back control of our waters, all that sort of thing. So it ended up being particularly difficult to deal with as someone who was more left-leaning, and kind of wanting to ignore some of these things, but you have to realise how pervasive a lot of those messaging was.
Thank you so much for that. That's super interesting. I don't have much experience in civil service, so just kind of seeing, obviously being in the science communication department and just kind of seeing, you being within the civil service and just kind of seeing the effects of that. That's super, super interesting.
Do you this is a bit of a deep question, but maybe we'll finish on this. Do you feel a bit of disillusionment as a result from working in that environment?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. After I left fishing, I worked in nuclear protection, and again, relating to your question about noticing how the media affects things. Well, radiation and Chernobyl and things like that, like the miniseries came out at the same time, people got scared, and I kind of realised that whilst you're working for people, often the opinions that have been shaped in this country are different to those that you have yourself, and it made me, I think, not a very good civil servant. I think some people are very good at remaining impartial, but unfortunately that wasn't something I was able to deal with, and that was what left me eventually to leave the civil service.
I think so many people would feel the same way, and I admire it.
Same. Do you see yourself going back to Do you see yourself going back to the civil service?
Well, I used to tell myself, maybe when the political party I like gets into power, I'll join, and I realised that would make me the worst civil servant if I was only enjoying it when my team was winning. Is completely not the point. So perhaps, but I think I would have to have a bit more of a view change, because at the moment I feel like I'm a bit too ideal driven.
I understand that. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah,
we really
thank
appreciate
you
you taking the time. And that's all we have for Science at 1 this week.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone who joined us today. Thank you to our co-producers, Abby and Jamie, Sophia, our presenter 1, Hannah, Monty, and I guess myself. And see you guys next week, next week, Monday, 1 p.m. Lots of love. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a lovely week.